kill it. I was meant to win. I am down and willing, so I will find a way. It took a minute, now it didn't happen right away. When it get hot in the kitchen, you decide to stay. That's how it winners made. Stick a fork in the hater on my dinner plate. I walk into the fire like it's just a bit of flame. I switch my style up with the money pile up. I'ma get rich with life.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Clydesdale Media Podcast. My name is Scott Schweitzer. I'm the Clydesdale. We're here to celebrate and highlight the athletes of the 2024 Legends Masters CrossFit Games. And I'm so honored and privileged to have with me five-time, now six-time CrossFit Games athlete, Kenzie Riley. What's going on, Kenzie?
Hey, your average Thursday night.
There you go.
Me hiding in the garage trying to do a phone call.
There you are. So when we were messaging back and forth, you asked if our paths had crossed, and I'm going to tell my embarrassing story.
Okay.
That makes me look really, really bad. So we were both at the games. I want to say it was 2022, I think.
Okay.
You were there pushing a stroller. I ran up behind you, and I thought you were Jen Dancer.
Yes. Yes.
And I felt like this tall when you turned around, and I realized you were not Jen Dancer. You were, in fact, Kenzie Riley.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, you're not the only person to ever get that confused. Apparently, we look alike, and I don't know. There's something that gives the same vibe, apparently. So I've not gotten that that only time. So don't
Well, I
worry.
had her and Sam on the show just right before that, talking about motherhood and having the baby, and so like all that, the stroller, everything clicked in. I was like, oh, it's got to be Jen. And then I get there and boom, nope, it was Kenzie.
No, I do remember that. But like I said, I've had that happen to me a couple times. So whatever. And you know what? I know Jen, and we're cool, and I like her, and she's awesome. So I could think of worse people to be confused for. So
You're both incredible athletes.
what an honor.
Yeah. So you are the first athlete I've had on this week that has been to the games before. Everybody else I've had on is going as a rookie.
Oh.
What advice would you give to the rookies going to the CrossFit Games for the first time?
Oh, geez. Well, it kind of depends on, I think, what stage of life you're in. For me, going as a rookie when I was, oh my gosh, I was like 29. I was almost 30 my very first year. And being in a completely different part of my life with, less obligations and more time to just focus on training. So I think it depends on how big of a part CrossFit plays in your life and how big piece of the pie it gets. But it's really easy to just get overwhelmed and sucked up. And I this is me talking to myself, not to other people, but like to enjoy, like everyone says, oh, enjoy it. But actually enjoy it. And remember, like, it's just working out, and putting so much like pressure on yourself and like being so worried about things really robs you of the fun that we're supposed to enjoy this. Like, that's what I always have to remind myself, instead of, feeling like, oh gosh, I have to warm up again. Oh gosh, another event. Is this over yet? Like, inevitably, that's the attitude, kind of, I think, once you get into the weekend. But just remembering, like, damn, this is awesome. And like, I get to do this, and I like to do this, and it's just working out. I do this all the time. I do this every day. Let's go have some fun with this. Because yeah, it can easily get turned into something that's not supposed to be. Don't take it too seriously, I guess, is what I'm saying.
Have you done any Masters competitions, or is this your first one?
I think technically it's my first one. Well, I don't know. I competed with Elijah Muhammad, and I did a team competition. And I don't know if we were in the Masters division or the Open division, but we're both Masters athletes. So I think it must have just been regular division. No, I haven't really messed too much with Masters, because ever since I've been Masters age, I've either been pregnant or too close postpartum to really like compete, at least in like a game season. So I'm just trying to think on like a local level, which I don't get too many opportunities with that. So I don't. No, wait. Yes, I did. Crash Crucible, which is like
Oh,
a competition down here. Which J.R. Howell and like they're friends with like Hiller and Sevon. Like anybody who watches that podcast might be familiar with him. But his gym, which Jason Hopper, I think believe trains out of, is just a couple hours from me. And they do a great competition. So I did that in like October in the Masters division.
yeah. My Sunday night co-host competed against you, Jamie
Uh,
Latimer.
yeah, totally. Yep.
Yeah. And so we watched the stream the whole weekend
Yeah.
and did little wrap-up shows from it just because, and it was so good. JR
Yeah.
put on quite a show.
Oh yeah, it was a great competition. He's great. So any opportunity anybody has to go compete at, he does like one or two events a year. It's definitely highly recommend.
So
So I did do that.
you're in North Carolina. What part?
I'm in Charlotte.
Okay.
Yep, Charlotte proper.
My wife has a lot of family there, so we've been there for family reunions, different things like that. So very familiar with the Charlotte area.
Oh, that's cool. I don't hear that too often.
Yeah, yeah. It's a nice place.
Well,
I don't think
I've
it's for
only
me, but
I'm not like from here. I've only lived here like 7 years, going on 8 years, which is kind of a long time. But I'm from the Midwest. I'm from Illinois,
okay.
born and raised. So this is just an adventure we went on to kind of do something different besides live in Illinois our whole lives.
Yeah, I'm in Columbus, Ohio,
Oh yeah,
so
yep,
Midwest myself.
yeah, and I love them. I mean, we go back, and I'm always like, oh, I kind of miss it, but I don't really miss the winters, and you know, I wanted to just do like we were just like, dude, let's not live here forever, So who knows what the future will hold, but we're here and we like it, and we're not going anywhere anytime soon. But we're not like born Southern. We're not Southerners, It's not like in us, but it's
Yeah,
we like to pretend we are sometimes.
I moved to Northern Florida for 4 years, and I couldn't deal with the Southern way. Like it's just much slower than I'm accustomed to, and if you like it and that's your style, good for you. I just couldn't live in that style very long.
And honestly, though, I was thinking about this earlier. I'm like, dude, I'm not Southern in my core, um, but like my kids are gonna be like born and raised like Carolina kids. And I'm just like, is my kid gonna have an accent? Like, is he gonna have like the mountains and the beach like in his heart? Because I mean, I've got like cornfields in my heart because that's what I grew up around. And so I'm like, I wonder if he'll resonate with this, even though we don't have those roots. Like, is he gonna have those roots? So I'm curious to see if they're gonna be like true Carolinian children.
So what was your background that got you into this CrossFit world?
So I was a swimmer, the majority of my childhood, like 15 years. I swam for a couple years in college, super burnout by that point in time. And I don't know what.
That's my background.
Oh yeah.
I swam.
Um,
I made it 2 months into my freshman year.
exactly.
And I was
Like,
totally burnout.
yeah, I did it because I was like, this is what I do, but I hated it so much. I was so over it. I didn't know what to, I didn't, that was my problem, as I didn't know what to do if I didn't do it. I was like, this is who I am. This is what I do, which is now my problem with CrossFit. But it becomes just like, yeah, and part of like your identity kind of, but, so yeah, I had that like aerobic base. So coming into CrossFit, I was 25 when I walked in my first CrossFit gym. Like I was super late to the game. So yeah, I spent about 5 years in between swimming and CrossFit where I like did a lot of gym workouts, group exercise, marathon, like half marathoning, just thinking I was really fit because I just like did a whole bunch of gym rat shit. But I was never like training. I'd never like lifted heavy, touched a barbell, done a full depth like back squat like with any weight. Like I didn't like know any of that stuff. But when I came into CrossFit, I was like aerobic base, that was not the problem. Coordination, like I'm a pretty like just naturally like coordinated kind of human, like body awareness and coordination, like rhythm, like okay, so Olympic lifting, I could like pick that up a little bit, and some things just clicked. But I was just, yeah, I don't know. my friend, one of my old swim teammates was the one that told me to try it. And then my cousin actually was into it too. So I just kept hearing about it, and I was like, I don't even know where you go to do this. You have to like, I Googled it up, like CrossFit gym. Like, is this a place you go? Like, I didn't really understand the concept of it being different than like a gym. But yeah, that was 2012. And by 2013, I was like, yeah, like, is there a competition? Can I like go compete in this somewhere?
Yeah, it's funny. I had a girl that went to the Olympic trials in swimming on Friday, and she's 34 years old, and she uses CrossFit to train. She only gets in the pool 1 day a week,
Yeah.
and she
Hmm.
CrossFits 5 days a week. Now she's a sprinter, and she found that her body responded to that way more than doing a bunch of pool time. And she at 34 years old made the Olympic trials.
Really?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Is this
So
somebody I should know? Who is this? Am I competing
her
against her?
name
Who
is
is this?
Caitlin Johnson.
What's her name?
Caitlin Johnson.
Oh, I've definitely heard of her. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and she's dabbling in CrossFit comps too. She's done Whatapalooza, TFX,
Yeah.
some of those things as well.
Yeah, it's crazy because I remember when I started, like, basically as I was like phasing out of my like runner girl era that I was definitely not. But I didn't know what else to do. But I would like do these half marathons and like train for half marathons. Anyways, I was like I had one in October and I started CrossFitting in like July, and I wasn't like ever really doing. I would do like one longer run a week and just CrossFit the rest of the time, and I like had the best like half marathon experience run feeling good of my time that I was a runner. And I was like, I really didn't like train running really. So yeah, I fully believe that that's possible.
So you're a registered dietitian. You've surrounded yourself with health and fitness by being an athlete, and your career is nutrition and all of that stuff. What growing up, was that always your desire, or was it just because you were always in sports?
You know, that's a funny question because it's definitely, yeah, it's kind of like a saga. Because I think a lot of people that come into, I mean, in this space in general, like nutrition and fitness go hand in hand. And of course I started out, like I've always been an athlete. Like that's, like I said, like always something I felt very like called to like called to be, and just like a part of me. And it was very natural for me to always want to be like training, doing exercise, making myself better, trying to be better than how I was. Like like that's just comes to me naturally. I don't know what that's about. Genetics or like just personality, but for me that's not hard to do. So whenever, especially whenever I was like in college, I would be like I was like the girl at the rec all the time. Like that's where people knew me from, because I was just working out all the time. That was like the one thing I always wanted to do. And it's like, I'm going to college. I got to pick something that like I would love to be an athlete. Like ideally, if I could just work out all day and get paid for it, that was like the one thing I actually want to do. But that's not a major option. You can't pick that in college. So I was like, well, what's something close? Like clearly I'm not going to be like I'm not making my sport a career. So I was like, well, what's something close? And I played around with like athletic training, of course, like physical therapy. You see a lot of physical therapists in like the CrossFit space, but I knew I wanted to do something that I could like work in athletics. Like I wanted to be in athletics, even if I wasn't doing it. And so dietetics got in the mix in my brain. Um, and so I ended up going that route just to try and stay in the sport realm. And so I knew I wanted to work in athletics, but the whole time I just really wanted to be the athlete. But this is as close as I could get. So luckily it's worked out though that I can, because I do work in I get to work with a lot of athletes. Being kind of now also still waving the flag of athlete myself, obviously at different degrees throughout the past few years, but it allows me to kind of like walk the walk and talk the talk, have the experience, relate to the individuals. So I get to kind of have that as a unique kind of twist to my profession as a dietitian. So yeah, it's always been natural for me. But also kind of to add to that story, I also went through a pretty aggressive bout of eating disorder when I was in high school, in my freshman to sophomore year of high school. And that drug on, I would say, for a good bit. I mean, probably the better half of a decade, where it was, varying stages and phases of a disordered eating situation. And once I started CrossFit and started eating and performing at a high level, and eating to perform, and really understood what that meant, I learned a lot about, again, athletics and sports and nutrition and how it works together. So that made me better able to be like a sports specific dietitian. So
So
it kind of all worked together.
you were battling an eating disorder while you were studying dietetics in college?
Yeah, it's super embarrassing, yeah, now I can talk about it and admit that, but at the time it's like you never want to admit that, because it's like, no, who wants to take advice from someone who doesn't have their own shit together, kind of, and not to sound like rude to anybody else that, is in a situation like that, but it was an insecurity of mine, right? So I knew that's why I got a nutrition coach. I got somebody to help me, because I knew, even though I knew it because I was a professional, I was not doing myself any service by helping myself by clearly struggling. So,
I view it in a different perspective. I think you understand it more than anybody else because you fought that fight and you overcame it.
yeah, no, I now get to speak about it and really help people. um so from where I'm at in my life now, I feel like I've lived several lives. So I've got, this eating disorder history, that I have taken some specialty education around. So I try and I semi specialize in that. Also, you see a lot of that, unfortunately, in our sport and in sports in general. Just a big struggle with aesthetics versus performance versus just shit we learn, or absorb through the world and how we're supposed to feel about food in our bodies. So there's a lot of that going on. So I get to play that role and kind of have that scope. And then I also have just performance, high level, um, serious athlete scope. Um, and then also as a mom who's gone through pregnant postpartum experience, I also kind of have that experience. So um, I have a few different hats in my practice. So that's something that I'm super grateful for. And I love working with a variety of people in all those realms.
Are you still with them too, or are you out on your own?
No, I work for M2. They're my, I started that's where I started in this space. Mike Malloy, who started M2, he was my nutrition coach that helped me understand a little bit more eating at a high level of performance. And so I will always wave that flag, because that's my um origin story kind of in all of this space. But I also work for a local company here in Charlotte, um doing, yeah, another dietetic job, because with M2 I'm a nutrition coach. Here in Charlotte, I'm working with a company that's specifically RD
Okay.
licensed. So I get a lot of the sports action still, with them too, because that's a lot of people are coming through the CrossFit space and through sports specific. But yeah, here locally, I get to work with another gamut of people,
Yeah, Mike is one of the nicest people I think I've ever met in this life.
and he's so smart. I've learned so much from him, and I'm so glad that he turned that into he's built something really awesome. All the M2 coaches are we he teaches us a lot. We learn a lot. So that's why we're a really great company with good coaches. Is he puts a lot into his coaches to learn and understand and be better. So yeah, he's amazing.
I read somewhere in one of your bios that you found after you got pregnant and you weren't competing as much, you'd kind of found peace in a 60 to 90 minute a day workout and with no pressure. Now
Yeah,
you're back being an athlete again. Are you still in that 60 to 90 minutes a day, or have you upped the volume?
dude, I add another kid in the mix. So no, we're honestly down in volume. 60 minutes is asking a lot these days.
Okay.
So oh yeah, for the better part of this year, it's 35, anywhere between 35 to 60 minutes, depending on the day and what I have going on. I work out in my garage. Sometimes I really love when I can get to the gym. If anything, I've been trying to get to the gym more as I prep for the games, like making sure I'm in the gym using different implements, not just like what I have in my low ceiling garage. Or I even work out at the YMCA where I can drop my kids off and they watch them for an hour for me, and I go use whatever sort of, they've got a rower, they got dumbbells. So it's like some version of that. Yeah, it's a total random mix. But yeah, having a second child has for sure downed the volume, if anything.
So,
Up to the stress, down the volume of training.
so with two kids, both young, um, two jobs kind of,
Yeah.
and a husband as well. How do you balance all this stuff?
That's the thing is I'm doing it all good, but I'm not doing any of it great, I think is like the real best way to put it.
You're,
Like
you're like the third mother that said that to me this week.
I think it's just the way that it is. And you can have it all. Like I tell people, like, you can't have it all, you can't do it all, but none of it is going to be like to the best of your abilities. And I'm okay with that because I choose to be able to have it all. Like I can't make up my mind. Um, I have a really hard time with decision making. So I just keep doing all the things, and unfortunately, like there's some things you can't sacrifice. Like I can't just not work. Would I love to just not work? Of course. Unfortunately, my household, this is not a choice. Um, my husband is amazing. He has a great job as a teacher, but he has a great job as a teacher. So I will always be working to some degree to support my family, and CrossFit does not pay that bill. So I will continue being a dietitian until further notice. Um, but yeah, it's because I want to do it all, and I refuse to miss these years with my kids. I refuse to, yeah, not support my family, and I refuse to give up on doing something that gives me a feeling of like accomplishment and purpose. Um, and I don't love to hurt. I really don't even like to hurt anymore. But I find myself in this position where I've qualified for the CrossFit Games, with making myself hurt minimally. And so, yeah, I don't know. I just still like to work out, and it still gets me to where it still gets me here. So now it's a question of if I want to hurt, if I'm willing to make this worth it, I guess. But no, there is no balance. All the balls are in the air, but I I don't know how. It's
And
probably not good. Like my brain and my nervous system are probably not at peak health.
but in some aspects, it's a season of life, and you are modeling good behaviors for your kids.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think that it's funny because I know, like, we hear, because we're surrounded by this stuff all the time and in this space, like we see and hear like so many kids at gyms and like people's kids like on pull-up bars and like oh, my kid's gonna grow up knowing this. And it's like, well, I feel like that's more kids than not that I see. But that's because that's all I see, because that's what's on my algorithms and that's who my friends are and all of that. But like when you look at like the greater picture, like when I think about the kids in my friends, or the friends in my kids' classes, I'm like, I know these kids don't see this. So for my son to be like, yeah, I swing on these rings and he's like, Mom, I want to do your workout. Like, like that's not a normal thing, I think, for kids to to see and do. So the fact that it's just something that they're just gonna just be like, yeah, that's how it is at my house, is super awesome. And whether they decide they like it and want to do it is a different story, but it's not going to be something weird for them to be exposed to. And I think more and more that's happening. Again, it's just because I see that in my my surroundings, but I love it. So I will definitely, yeah, absolutely, no regrets on that being a byproduct of it.
How old are the kids?
4 and 1.5. So we're in the
So,
real crazy little times.
so the 4-year-old is getting close to a point where is it a he?
Yeah.
that he'll want to work out with mom and that he'll want to do some of these things.
That's my hope. I ask him all the time, or he'll say he wants to do a workout. Like his attention span is like a fly. So he says he wants to do it, and he'll do like one squat, and then he'll like pick up his baseball bat and like run over and do something else, and like run back, and like dude, he's like a ping pong ball. So yeah, whenever he like has the attention span to want to like actually do something, um, and he says, and he wants to watch me. The thing is, he'll watch me because he's like my little Velcro child. We're very close bonded to where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go outside and grab a workout. You got the kids. Oh yeah, like I'm gonna turn on the TV and then we'll like go do this, blah blah blah. So in my mind, like my husband's got this covered, and I've come out here and we've got a little door for our cat to come in and out of the garage from the inside of the house, and I'm like in the middle of like trying to get my workout on, and like the door opens and like a little hand comes out, mom, blah 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 blah, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, or just like, yeah, I see like little hands reaching out the door, and then it's like so distracting. But at that point, I'm like, screw it. And I'm just like, come out, just come out here, whatever. And it's definitely like chaos. And I'm like, buddy, why don't you go inside with dad? And he's like, I just want to, I just gonna sit here till you're done. I'm just gonna sit here and watch you. And I'm like, whatever. Okay. So, I mean, yeah, he sometimes like gets on my rower and like right before I'm supposed to be on. Like sometimes he's like in the way, but I'm also, and I told my husband this because I think I heard Jason Kalipa say, I never want to tell my kids. I think what he was saying is he would get up and always work out super early in the morning because he never wanted to tell his kids, I can't, I have to go to the gym. Like if they wanted to do something, like I can't because I've got to work out, and like make them feel like they're a less priority. So if I'm working out in here, I never want to make them feel like this is more important than them and they can't be a part of it, or like if it's going to cramp my style because my kid is on my equipment or whatever, I'm just like, I can take 10 seconds and like move him over and like explain it or move it around. Like, I don't care. Like, what's that costing me? Nothing. But like for me to feel like I'm making them feel less by excluding them, like that makes me feel worse, So
Yeah.
I I let it be chaotic because of the bigger picture of what it really is, and not that like my workout's going to be ruined, because that's not important.
Yeah. That's special. And so who are you taking with you to the games?
Everyone. Well, everyone in my house. So yes, everyone's on deck. Unfortunately, we are not in a like, oh, we'll just call grandma and grandma can come stay for the week situation. Actually, my in-laws are going to be on a cruise. I tried to recruit them to Birmingham to come and be on hand, and they're going to be gone. So we have some friends here who are big CrossFit fans, big Kenzie fans, and spend a lot of time with my kids. So they're going to come and hopefully run some interference on child watch duty so that my husband doesn't have to do all of it. Yeah, so it's mostly us, our family, and then our two friends. And truthfully, and then all my Misfit squad, like all like, so I've still coached and associated with Misfit, which is also like another half job that I do. I do some remote coaching for them. So yeah, add that to the list. Um, so they'll be there. So I've got a big like team of not like family, but like my fitness family. So they'll be there. But as far as like, oh, and like not no one's uprooting their no one's uprooting their life for the Masters games. I don't think no one's traveling from Charlotte. I really don't think, outside of my two friends. So I don't know. I also haven't really broadcasted it, so maybe I should be trying to recruit some spectators, but
I've
whatever.
said this several times. Like, I don't know if people even realize this. The athletes from 35 to 49 have a collective 3 million followers on Instagram. And so people like, they're not giving the Masters credit that they have followers and they have people that are fans, but they really do.
Yeah,
And
I mean it's not nothing,
right.
Yeah, I
If a
mean
third of those people watch the stream, that's a successful stream.
I mean that's a lot. Yeah, for sure. I agree. I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot compared to the open division. Do the math on those followers, so it's,
Right.
it pales in comparison, but it's also like, yeah, what does success mean for this competition? And if they, yeah, if they want some viewership, and I guess, yeah, there's people out there supporting. It's just a lot of, I think, people that are related to me. A lot of friends and family, not a lot of. I still have a pretty. Honestly, I never was trying to have the biggest following. I never really tried to make a career and a big paycheck off of my social media ads and posts and sponsorships. A little bit here and there over the years, but nothing crazy. I'm not trying to launch a brand or anything. So I never really gave a lot of that my energy. And even since going through this phase of like change of life, now I have a lot of mom content. Like, yeah, I lose some followers, but I gained some mom followers and people that care about that. So I'm not even sure who's out there giving a crap about what I do on social media anymore, but I just put out there what I want to put out there, not what I like have to contractually anymore. So whoever's hanging around for that, I appreciate them. And I know that they really do like what I'm serving because it's been kind of all over the place over the last few years. So, in regards to kind of like, yeah, that following and that support, like, not that you asked, but just kind of naturally came up in this conversation. But like, I know the people that do care, like actually care, and it's not just like for other reasons that people are following me. So
Right. Real's always better. That's all.
apparently, I can't even keep up with that crap.
Yeah, I'm saying like REAL.
Oh, sorry.
Being, being
I thought you meant
real,
like a
being
reel. I
real is
was like,
always better.
no, that's what I've always said. Like, what is just like, quality over quantity. So I'm just like, I may not have a ton of people following me, but I know that the people that I do, like, I'm engaged with, and like they appreciate what I'm bringing, and I appreciate them for appreciating me. So,
Yeah.
I just try, and I hope to be relatable is all. So that's hopefully what people are getting, because that's all I got.
I heard John Woolley talk about it, who was Make Wads Great Again, lost his account, had to start a
Yes.
new one. He was like, I had 500,000 followers that weren't engaged. They just were like passive people. And he wanted to, in the recreation of the new channel, he wants it to be different and to be more engaged. He doesn't care about that big number. He just wants to have a real relationship with the people that are following him.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's like a tricky too, because I don't even look at, I don't look at the analytics. I don't look at the, like, again, I don't have no reason to. But I understand, like, engagement is different than just follows, and it's like, what's more important, views or likes or this or that. Like, I hear about that stuff all the time, and or subscribers or not subscribers, but they're being watched, but they're not being subscribed. Like, I don't even know. Um
I
but
have to
yeah,
follow a
there's
lot of
something
them
to
just
that.
because of what I do.
Yeah.
And it's so frustrating, but yeah.
Yeah, I know, that's what I'm saying, like, and then you get algorithms and things get blocked, and, like, eh, yeah, I don't even, it's AI and things, I don't know, it's
And
just
some people buy
technology.
followers, some people buy subscribers. So you don't even know what real is. Like you have no idea if you're doing good or bad because you don't know what's real.
Technology is getting terrifying, just with all of it and algorithms, and like I said, like, whatever, like, I even when you try and then people don't, like, sometimes they're just gonna, like, things aren't gonna be seen because of algorithms, and so I'm just like, I don't, why am I caring? Why am I trying? So,
I get you. So
oh,
I want to thank you a ton for taking out the time to do this. I know you're super busy and I really appreciate it. We are going to be in Birmingham. We
okay.
got access to behind the scenes. We're going to do a full behind the scenes documentary, just like they do for the elite athletes.
Yes, I love those. It's the
And so
best part.
we're gonna have fun. Ellie Hiller and myself will be backstage, hanging out in the warm up areas, the corrals, just chatting with people to find out how the weekend's going, and then we'll
Sweet.
have some videographers getting some footage from the floor.
Great. Yeah, I don't know what the deal was on media. I heard there's a kerfuffle with media. Those media passes are not very well freely given these days. I hear it's a a lot of issues with the media situation. So I never know what to expect with coverage, and I don't even care what I look like because I don't think anyone's taking my picture. Like,
so I can tell you this will be fully live streamed.
okay.
They actually got Sean Woodland to call it since he wasn't good enough to do the games this year.
Yeah. Oh,
He's going to do the Masters, so I think that's a
good.
win-win for the Masters athletes.
Yes. Yes. That's great.
So full stream. I negotiated this like 4 months ago with the organizers of Legends. So we'll be
Okay.
backstage. We're not going to interfere with the live stream. We're just doing our own little documentary thing. So you'll have a couple things to watch when you get back.
Yes, because people always ask, and all my sweet friends at home, they're like, how can I watch this? And I'm like, I don't even know. Like, I don't know what sort of coverage there's going to be, what heats they're going to cover, if there's going to be commentation, or if it's just like a camera propped up like in the rafters and you can just like squint and maybe like see where I have no idea what to expect with
I
the
think
coverage.
it's
So
full coverage.
okay, well that would be great. Because people always want to watch me do competitions, and I'm like, you can never see me, even at the games. I'm like, oh look, that's my ponytail. That's like right in front of Tia's head, but you can't tell it's me because it's on Tia. But that's my ponytail that keeps like coming in the frame. Like there I am.
Well, now that they know that you're not Jen Dancer, we'll definitely chat backstage.
Yeah, but if I mean, she's not going to be there though, because Sam was not. He's not doing the Masters this year. So as long as she's not there, then it's definitely me. If you see somebody who looks like me, it's only me this time.
Yeah. And you'll probably have the athlete badge on. So
My name might be on my shirt, so that will also help you.
There you go. Well, Kenzie, this has been awesome. I hope you got a little break from the action inside the house.
You know what? We did this in perfect time. I can still go in and make sure I show my face and they lose their mind one more time before they have to go to sleep. So perfect.
Awesome. Well, have a great rest of your night. Thank you for doing this, and we'll see you in Birmingham.
All right. Yep. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
And everybody in the chat, thank you for being here. Sorry, I lost my mouse. White on white is not good for old eyes. We'll see everybody next time on the Clydesdale Media Podcast. Bye, guys.